Indeed, calling him a man might be appropriate, for he performed extraordinary deeds and was a teacher of those who accept the truth with pleasure. Many people from among the Jews and other nations became his disciples. He was the Christ who worked wonders, and when Pilate, on the advice of our leaders, condemned him to the cross, those who had loved him did not abandon him. These three works are the limited records providing historical information about Jesus. However, there are other areas we need to look into to trace Jesus historically. One of these areas is archaeological studies conducted in the region of Palestine. Actually, finding an archaeological artifact directly related to Jesus is not possible. Archaeological remains generally provide information about cultures, lifestyles, and daily habits of societies rather than individuals. However, researchers interested in this topic try to prove the geographical accuracy of the Gospels by focusing on the archaeological accuracy of the Bible, rather than finding information about Jesus himself. For example, according to the Gospel of John, there was a pool with 5 porticos called Bethesda. Through a series of excavations conducted in the 19th century, a structure similar to this was unearthed in the region of Palestine. Other excavation works are also available. However, researchers argue that these studies only prove the geographical accuracy of the Gospels and do not present historical evidence about Jesus. These objects are called holy relics. However, the relevance of holy relics to the individuals they claim to be associated with is a highly debated issue. This is because the display of holy relics in churches, often for donation or money received underneath, has turned this into a lucrative trade over time. Especially during the Middle Ages, numerous people emerged searching for these holy relics. For example, fragments believed to be open parts of Jesus' crucifixion were found everywhere Christians believed. As one of the pioneers of the Reformation, John Calvin expressed, "If all the fragments found could be put together, it would be possible to fill a cargo ship." However, according to the Bible, this cross could be carried by only one man. In those years, thousands, even millions, of holy relics believed to belong to Jesus, apostles, or saints emerged. Many Christians living in those years might have believed that these were true. Still, today technology is much more advanced, and scientists can approximately calculate the dates of these holy relics using the carbon-14 method. So, which holy relics believed to belong to Jesus are from the 1st century AD? For example, the spear of Longinus, which is believed to have pierced Jesus' side and is now exhibited in the Hofburg Imperial Palace, dates back to the 9th century. The Holy Grail, believed to have been used by Jesus at the Last Supper and now displayed in the Metropolitan Museum of Art, was produced in the 6th century. And the Shroud of Turin, in which Jesus' body is believed to have been wrapped after being taken down from the cross, dates back to the 13th century. In addition, there are some pieces dating back to the 1st century AD. For instance, the crown of thorns in Notre Dame Cathedral and the Holy Nail exhibited in the cathedral in Troyes were produced in the 1st century AD. Still, researchers debate whether these can truly be associated with Jesus. When the dust cloud cleared, fires broke out in many places, and within half an hour, the entire city was engulfed in flames. The Great Kanto earthquake lasted between 4 and 10 minutes, and Tokyo was almost completely destroyed during the tremor. Immediately after the earthquake, fires broke out in different parts of the city, and then the Japanese army entered the area and started a massacre, especially targeting Koreans and communists. According to the initial reports prepared as a result of the Great Kanto earthquake and the subsequent Kanto massacre, the number of people who lost their lives in the earthquake was 142,800. In September 2004, according to reports prepared by the Japanese construction company Kajima Kobari, the number of people who lost their lives in the 1923 earthquake was determined to be 105,385. Chiba, Kanagawa, and Shizuoka, along with Tokyo, were the most affected prefectures by the earthquake. The date is October 6, 1948. At 1:12 a.m., the capital of Turkmenistan, Ashgabat, which was then part of the Soviet Union, was shaken by a severe earthquake with a magnitude of 7.3. The epicenter of the earthquake was the village of Konakavdan, located 25 kilometers southwest of Ashgabat. The tremor lasted exactly 45 seconds, during which most of the buildings in Ashgabat were destroyed. According to the survivors, except for the water pipes, the infrastructure of the city was severely damaged. 3 days after the earthquake, the train station started operating again, and electricity was restored 6 days later. Additionally, various sizes of damage occurred in surrounding towns and villages due to this earthquake. Due to censorship imposed by the government at the time, the Ashgabat earthquake did not receive sufficient coverage in the Soviet media. For the same reason, estimates of the death toll from the tremor vary. While Soviet sources report that around 10,000 people lost their lives in this earthquake, later reports suggest that the estimated death toll from the earthquake could reach up to 176,000. On July 28, 1976, at 3:42 a.m., the city of Tangshan in China was struck by an earthquake with a magnitude of 7.6. This was one of the most extraordinary earthquakes in history because even though it lasted only 14 seconds, this time was enough for Tangshan to be completely destroyed. According to official reports shared by China, 242,769 people lost their lives in the earthquake, and 164,854 people were severely injured. However, when deaths of subsequently injured individuals and deaths in nearby cities such as Beijing and Tianjin are considered, scientists estimate that at least 300,000 people died in this earthquake. Another interesting detail is that Tangshan was not located in an earthquake-prone area. Therefore, the structures in the city were not built to be earthquake-resistant. As a result of this event, there was a catastrophe where 85% of the buildings that are currently unusable collapsed, and the remaining ones became unusable. Sending aid to the region became difficult as a significant portion of highways and railway bridges collapsed, further exacerbating the magnitude of the disaster. This time, on December 26, 2004, at 7:58 local time, an earthquake with a magnitude of 9.1 occurred 160 kilometers off the west coast of Indonesia. Initially, the earthquake's moment magnitude was calculated to be 8.8, but new measurements in 2005 showed that the magnitude of the earthquake was 9.1. This earthquake, known as the Andaman earthquake by the scientific community, is considered one of the greatest disasters in history. What made this disaster even more catastrophic was the tsunami that occurred after the earthquake, hitting a total of 14 different countries. The tsunami hit Indonesia approximately 20 minutes after the earthquake and caused the greatest damage there. The number of fatalities in Indonesia alone exceeded 170,000. Along with other countries such as Thailand, India, Maldives, Sri Lanka, and Myanmar, the total death toll was reported as 227,898. Dozens of countries along the southern coasts of Asia and the eastern shores of Africa, affected by the tsunami, resulted in the loss of millions of lives. Since many of the affected countries were impoverished, a worldwide donation campaign was launched to help heal the wounds of the tsunami. According to official figures, the total donations made to the region through these campaigns exceeded $14 billion. On Tuesday, January 12, 2010, at 4:53 p.m. local time, Haiti was struck by a magnitude 7 earthquake. The epicenter was in the West region, located 25 kilometers west of Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince. The number of people who lost their lives in the earthquake varies between 220,000 and 316,000. During the earthquake, 250,000 homes and 30,000 commercial buildings collapsed or were severely damaged. The fact that Haiti is a poor country and faced housing problems after the earthquake was one of the factors exacerbating the disaster. In addition to the fatalities, it is estimated that around 3 million people were indirectly affected by the earthquake. Throughout history, humanity has had to face the disasters caused by earthquakes and struggle with them. Cities were destroyed, some were rebuilt, and some were abandoned, fading into the dusty pages of history. Humanity has experienced multiple times how the structures it built can be destroyed in just a few minutes, or sometimes even seconds, by earthquakes. However, at the point we are at today, we also have the chance to take precautions against this. We are not as helpless and defenseless against earthquakes as we were in history. It is time for us, as a country, to act with the awareness of this, as nothing is more valuable than the lives lost.